Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's class we are going to discuss about the dimensions and cube storage modes. What is a storage mode? Storage mode is nothing but the way the data is being stored on the cube side. When we process the cube, how the data should be stored, how the values should be stored, that all we are going to define by using the storage. So how to get is that we'll have the three different types of storage modes. One is a row lab, another is a whole lab. Whole lab is a hybrid, and then we have the MOLAP. So the first one is ROLAP, relational online analytical processing. Then we have the HOLAP. So before HOLAP, I will say the MOLAP. MOLAP is multidimensional online analytical processing. Then OLAP. OLAP is nothing but the hybrid online analytical processing. Hybrid means combination of ROLAP and MOLAP. Here dimensions, you will not have the HOLAP. You can only store the data either in the ROLAP or MOLAP. For the cubes, you will have all the three. You will have the ROLAP, you will have the MOLAP, you will have the HOLAP. Now where can you change the storage settings? So if you go with the dimensions, any dimension if you select, if I see the properties of the dimension, if I go to the dimension here, when I click, now I will get the storage mode at the bottom. You can see one storage here, not on the properties. You can click when you open the dimensions. If you close this, click the window, then you will get the properties of that. Then you will have the name, you will have the storage mode, that is a proactive caching. Now you can see the storage mode, I got only two, MOLAP and ROLAP. In memory is a new feature that we are getting. You can even store in the in memory, and this is a new feature for latest SQL Server 2000 versions. Before SQL Server 2000 version doesn't have any in memory, but now you can get the in memory. And my suggestion is better to use a MOLAP. That's the most commonly used, that's the more effective. Don't mess up with storage structures. This is a storage mode. Then proactive caching. Proactive caching is nothing but where I will have the different types of caching. One is ROLAP, HOLAP, and MOLAP is divided into multiple types. You can see it here. When I select the MOLAP here at the corner, you have different types, different descriptions about that. One is a measure group, data and aggregations are stored in the multidimensional format. MOLAP means a multidimensional. So data, obviously the data is stored in the multidimensional format. Notifications are not received when the data changes. If there is any change in the data, you will not get any notification. Processing must be either scheduled or performed manually. Processing means if you want to schedule the, if you want to update, like you will have the data in the database, but that data will not be refreshed in the cube. If you want to refresh that, you have to manually execute, like you have to schedule that processing, or you have to manually click on the cube and process it. That's two ways you have to do. And coming to the ROLAP, when you see the ROLAP here, measure groups data, and see in the MOLAP, if you see the MOLAP, measure group data and aggregations are stored in multidimensional formats. But when you see the ROLAP, measure group and data aggregations are stored in relational format. Server will listen for notifications when the data changes. The database server will check whether the data in the cube server will check whether the data in the database is changing or not. All queries reflect the current state of the data, means whatever the changes you have there, that everything will be reflected here. Then if you see the OLAP, as I said, OLAP is not a storage mode for the dimension. That's the reason if I select, it will throw an error. It's a warning because this is not being used. Then if you see the low latency, it's the same. The data is stored in the multidimensional format, and the server will listen, and the processing is done automatically. For every 30 minutes the processing will be done. That is a low latency. If you see the medium latency, it is the same like low latency, but it will be processing every 4 hours automatic. And if you see automatic MOLAP, it is the server will listen to the notification. At the same time, process is performed automatically with no restrictions on latency. It will just perform. It's nothing but we can schedule, we can create for 1 day or 2 days. If you see the options, then you will get when to process it. Okay, that all you will be getting here. If you see the notifications, server, and whatever the scheduling you want, you can give it. Whichever, if you want to track all the outcome be captured. This is the automatic molap. It is like automatic. There is no need for you to any schedule. Automatically it will be done. Scheduled means it will be done every 24 hours. Automatically it will be done, but every 24 hours it will be done. That is a scheduled molap. So let's take, we are given today. If I see the schedule, then I will get the different selections here. If I see the automatic molap, I'll get the different selections. I'll not be getting other stuff. But when I select the schedule, you'll have the year scheduled for 1 day. If you want, you can schedule for 2 days or any whatever you want, you can select. Then what is a molap? Molap is the one which you are going to manually process. Generally, the issue what will happen is that if you keep on doing automatic other stuff, generally the queue concept is when you have used data. And when you have used data, if you have this other automatic other stuff, that might affect the process. At the same time, it might cause some deadlocks. The users who are trying to update might get stuck because the tables might be used by this. Okay, there will not be that consistency. That's the reason we always use a molap as a storage. So depending on the necessity, if there is necessary for you to refresh the cube every refresh the dimension every 3 hours or 4 hours, then you can go whatever the latency you want, you can go it medium latency or low latency. Okay, that's the way how you are going to give the storage mode for the dimensions. Then same thing with the cubes. For the dimensions, if you select here in the properties, you will have the storage mode. Okay, but for the cube, when I select the cube, when I select it here, so I'll open the cube here. I have to open the cube. Okay, I'll go with the date dimension. Something I might have not set it properly. Yep. Okay, now it got you. Okay, so now I have the cube. I'll go to the cube. In the cube, the storage modes are there in the partitions. Okay, when I click the partition, now I'll get the storage mode here. If I click the storage settings, now I'll get all the three: molap, holap. I can use a holap also. I can use a rolap. Okay, here I'll not get any warning because I can use whatever the storage mode I want. I can use it. That's the advantage of the that's the three options we have it in the cube. So based on the storage mode, you will be processing. If you use the different storage mode, it will be processing automatically. The server and the database and the cube will be in a sync. Like they will have the communication between them. So if anything changes in the table, automatically, depending on your selection, it will be automatically processed. It will be processed every 3 hours. It will process every 4 hours, or it will process like whenever we schedule it, manual schedule. So these are the different types of storage modes we have in the SSAS. So we have the storage modes for dimensions, that molap and rolap, and for the cubes we have the three storage mode, that is a molap, rolap and holap. Okay, so generally in all the scenarios we will be working on the molap. And regarding the partitions, that all we are going to cover in next videos. What is meant by partition, when do we need that all we are going to cover in the next videos. See you guys, thank you, we'll meet in the next video. Bye, take care.